What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about Tupperware. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what just came out associated to the company and what might be coming next. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, it has been quite some time since I've covered Tupperware. I was covering it roughly maybe every 2-3 months, as you can kind of see. So this video 8 months ago, will Tupperware stock survive? And even prior to that, I was more so focusing on, I guess, a high short interest at the time and everything else, but clearly it just dwindled out. And the news that came out today did definitely spark a lot of fear, and it came out kind of near the tail end of the day, but it did cause a significant sell-off. It went down 57.51%. Absolute craziness. And in reality, this might be just the tip of the iceberg on the potential sell-off. Today, there was 6.62 million shares being traded. 592,000 is the average. So in case you do not know what came out, it looks like they are going to be kind of looking for bankruptcy protection. I think a lot of people just don't really understand bankruptcy and how there's different variations of it, one of which is more of a restructuring. Second one, which is Chapter 7, is kind of like all dead and like you're it, that's it, whatever else. So essentially, based on this, it doesn't actually distinguish the difference. It looks like they're kind of looking to negotiate with some of their debts. So it does kind of insinuate more just a kind of Chapter 11. So that does mean more reorganization. But based on when I was covering it, their kind of previous, I guess, creditors at the time, they already did renegotiate to make the terms more advantageous for Tupperware. So I don't think they'd be more willing to renegotiate once again, giving them probably around 60 cents on the dollar. It's not beneficial to them whatsoever. So essentially, they might go down the same route as Fisker that did kind of look for a reorganization that might leave it in limbo for probably a good 3-4 months, and then ultimately they just file Chapter 7. So again, that's just my own thoughts. Of course, Tupperware could be similar to obviously Red Lobster. They did survive, they reorganized, and they kind of came out flourishing somewhat. So again, just kind of if you guys are a value play investor or very, very risky, definitely pay attention to this. But the reason why I said it's only the tip of the iceberg is because of the volume. Like I said, 6.62 million shares were traded, and ultimately popping over to IBKR right over here, this is the current ownership based on the last 13 Fs. So institutions do hold 23.61% of the free float. If we kind of put this in numbers, that works out to be around 10.9 million shares. Essentially, a lot of these institutions will want to get the hell out. So, no doubtably, there's going to be a lot more volume and a lot more selling coming into the following days. Even though potentially there is a small likelihood that they could make it out of this kind of crap that they are in, like institutions won't want to touch Tupperware anymore. So that's just my own opinion, and that's not even counting the 31.45 million being held by retail that is going to see this news and get the hell out once again. So it's going to be a very big bloodbath over the next couple trading days, but again, what do I know? I could be wrong. Shorts though, if it does go belly up, shorts ultimately win. They don't ever have to cover. On a side note, just as a FYI, not incentivizing that, not de-incentivizing that. You guys, again, do whatever the hell floats your boat. But 21.08% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 8.8 million shares. Surprisingly, shorts did return a little bit, but again, the news came out rather late in the day, so they probably didn't really adjust to that, but they did end up returning around 14,000 shares. Utilization 75.63, short score is 88.42. Only bringing this up for analysis purposes. I do not see Tupperware being a squeeze play whatsoever. So again, do your own due diligence at the end of the day, but cost to borrow average right now is 9.11. So I anticipate shorts to really increase their position over the next little bit. And usually New York Stock Exchange is very kind of picky about companies going through restructuring And if it is still stuck in limbo for a while, they might again do the same thing as Fisker and say bye-bye, serve them with a Form 25, and then Tupperware will go down to OTC, where ultimately they'll just pretty much die. But you do see a lot of abnormal volume based on this, a lot of puts, 153,000 in puts. Majority of which was, like I said, the last about 15 minutes of the trading day from 2:45 to the 3 o'clock, and then 28,000 in calls. And a lot of the, I guess, puts that were purchased today, it looks like it's around, this is SoFi. Let me pull this up. So this is Tupperware right here. Most is at roughly around the $1.50 mark. So I think that's just more, you get most bang for your buck ultimately. It's kind of weird that they wouldn't really be choosing the 50-cent strike price, because I think that's where you'd get, again, the most bang for your buck, but what do I know, right? And I think one thing that's been really plaguing Tupperware for a while, which again, I did bring up in every one of these videos that you can go back and refer to, is just institutions haven't really given two shits about Tupperware. Pardon my French. So these are basically all the non-existent transactions over the last 90 days on the secondary market. So big money has just not been paying attention to Tupperware. So I think this has kind of been the writing on the wall, diminishing volume as time has been passing. Even this is all the transactions on the dark pool. So dark pool often enough linked to shorting, manipulation, nothing. So nobody, even shorts, don't give two craps about Tupperware. So it's kind of it's just there. It's just been existing, waiting for something to happen, or possibly just to get to this restructuring. So who knows? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. It does even state after hours, after that 57%, it did go down another 16.7% after hours. So I think right now, even factoring that 16 or 17% down after hours, there is still going to be a lot more blood. So most likely this will be sub 10 cents, probably by Wednesday, which is kind of weird because there was a lot of optimism for this upcoming Wednesday, especially with rate cuts. And in theory, that is going to boost buying power coming from the consumers, and that would directly help Tupperware investors, or consumers. But still, I think the writing has just been on the wall long enough for Tupperware. So who knows? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Do you currently hold Tupperware? And if so, are you going to continue to hold Tupperware? And even a further question, why? Why are you going to hold Tupperware? Do you think it's going to kind of figure stuff out? Or are you just too much of at a loss just to kind of recoup any gains or whatever, because generally looking over the last 1 year, it is down 69.83%. Over the last 5 years, down 96.83%. So yeah, it's kind of been brutal. So what's your thoughts? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it. They give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. This is a kick-ass deal. Link to that is in the description below, and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.